Do you really know where your tip money goes? How do service industry workers get paid?
Yes.
Today we're going to discuss it. A lot of our pay comes from tips.
All of it.
It might be interesting to know that whether you think 20% is good for good service or 22% for excellent service, 15 to 20 to 18% for average service, 10% for bad service. Whatever you tip, you don't tip. That's not what we're talking about in this show.
No.
Okay? Our base salary, think about it for a minute. 25 states out of 50 earn a base salary of less than $5 an hour.
No, most of them are $2.13 or $2 whatever, right?
Most of them are $2.13 an hour. Okay? And that's how we get paid.
Yeah.
You get the $2.13 an hour
Plus tips.
plus tips. And let's one little blurb about how the tipping culture became in the U.S. at least. It was from a very racist place where freed slaves now into the workplace. They wanted to avoid having to pay them a salary. Mm-hmm. So tipping was introduced, whether they're porters or...
Yeah.
We're not going to go into the history of tipping. Tipping is here. It's not
here.
going anywhere.
No.
They've tried it. They've tried to do the whole... It's just too ingrained into the economics, and restaurant industry is too big. It's here to stay.
Yeah, it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere.
Let's get into how we get paid. So every hour that we work, we make, a lot of us, 25 out of the 50 states, make $2.15 an hour.
Yeah.
How could that be when, the federal minimum wage is XYZ? Well, I will tell you. Generally, employers will get a credit. Mm-hmm.
If you don't hit your minimum wage with your tips, the employer has to pay the difference.
Well said. The tip credit is not in all states. States like California, Washington, Oregon, Alaska, Minnesota, there is no tip credit.
Yeah, but California is probably one of the highest hourly paid. I believe servers get paid a good amount there, right?
Well, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
And so they have to pay the full minimum wage to their...
Really?
The highest minimum wage for tipped employees are going to be California at $16 an hour, Oregon $14 an hour, Washington $16.26 per hour. That's the highest.
Okay.
Alaska is $11.73 an hour, and Minnesota is $10.85 an hour. The lowest states, which there's a bunch of them, are $2.13.
Yeah. I think Virginia's one of them.
Too many to count.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
Right?
It's like 25 or 27, something
25's
like that.
under $5 an hour. I believe it to be 13 states.
That are still at $2.13.
That is still at $2.13.
I remember when I first started working, it was $2.13.
So, same.
Yeah.
Same. In New York.
Yeah.
And so Kansas, Louisiana, Texas, Indiana, they're all at $2.13. Generally, the western states have a higher tipped wages and don't allow the tip credits, aligning with border policies that prioritize higher minimum wages all across the board, which is interesting to see the politics play out.
Yeah.
Whereas the southern and Midwestern states typically stick to the 213.
Because Georgia's 213 off the rip.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, Georgia, North and South Carolina, Virginia. I don't think any of them changed once you pass Florida. Once you're going north on the 95 corridor.
And I believe because states like Nevada and Florida are so big on
hospitality. Right. Yeah, so you have to pay a little bit more, and I mean a lot, and still goes to almost all of it. Still, almost all of our income still goes to taxes. So, which is
almost all of our hourly goes to taxes for sure.
Sure.
Whereas our paychecks per week look like $5.
Yeah, they're small.
Either you get this is not a check.
Yes.
Or, a big check would be $30.
Yeah.
And that's a big check. In season.
Yes.
Now, you can't talk tips without talking tip share.
Yes.
That's how our support staff gets paid. And so give them an example of a $100 check with $20 as a
So your $100 check is $20, and depending on your restaurant, but this we'll just say a 5% standard. So for every $100 you make, no matter what the tip is, we pay $5. Okay.
Okay.
Which
So
is
I'd like you to explain that a little bit differently.
Okay. So out of the one, so let's say for every
start with the check and then go to the tip and then go from there.
Okay. So the check is 100.
Right.
Your tip is 20. Right.
Right. That's 20%.
20%. Okay. Out of that 20%, $1 goes to one person. $3 or $4 goes to your back of the house, and then you're left with 15 out of that 20. That goes to you.
Okay.
That now will be taxed by the government.
Okay. So we're not. The whole point is we're not getting the entire 20%.
Never. Ever.
Okay.
So the less percentage, the more the less we get for ourselves.
We owe no matter what.
No matter what.
So
So if you stiff us, we owe $5.
Yes, we have to pay because regardless, our sales report comes back.
Yes.
And if we didn't make a dime all day, we still have to pay out.
Yeah. So, and let's say we kind of sucks. Let's say you get $1,000 table, right? And then you get, which would never really happen because if the table's $1,000, there are probably enough people where it's going to have gratuity on it.
Don't say never, because there are a lot of restaurants that don't add gratuity no matter what.
So if you get stiffed on $1,000 check, you think about it, that's $50 out of your pocket, and that might be your only table.
Right.
So you just made no money.
Right.
Well, and you paid to go to
You
work.
made negative money.
Yeah.
You paid. Yeah. And so it's important to know that you're not just. We are the face.
Yes.
We're what you see, and we're incumbent to. It's incumbent
We're part of a
upon
system.
us.
Okay, so we're your salesperson, but just like with anything in sales, there's somebody that's delivering your food. So think about like that as if you bought something from a store, there was a truck that needed to go to that store. Okay, and then there's somebody that stocks that store. So the person that's stocking the store is that person who delivered your food to the table. The person that brought it, and made it.
Right.
So we pay all those people across the board.
And you pay them in the price of the item.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we get paid based on the convention of tips. Okay. And so, like you said, the bartender gets a portion of that tip share. It could be as much as 7, 8, 10%. It could be as low as the 1, 2, 3%
of your total sales, or it could be of 7. If it's that much, it's because it's off of strictly bar sales. I'm 95% sure because think 7% of your
not just going to the bar.
Yeah.
I'm saying tip out in general.
Oh yes.
Yeah, tip out in general.
Yeah.
So meaning out of your $20, we are giving out
anywhere between $5 to $10.
Right. So we're not getting your whole $20.
No,
so
never.
You're saying, oh, all you did was this and this and that. But somebody made the drinks. Somebody brought the food. Somebody bust the table.
Yes.
And that's just the system of how that business works.
Absolutely.
Okay. So you really have to understand where your tip money is going. And it is incumbent upon us to do an excellent job to be able to afford to tip out everybody else. Also, it's incumbent on the guest to understand
that the system works like that. Right. Yeah, that's what we're here for, the Modern Waiter Podcast, to teach how our business works and to reflect on the things that we talk about.
Yeah, and it is what it is. So now the pros and cons to tipped wages.
Yes.
Obviously, let's start with the cons. It's inconsistent.
It is inconsistent.
If it's
you
slow,
never know what you're going to make.
No.
You can have a roundabout and you can gauge it depending on the day or whatever, but you never know going into work if you're going to have a good day, a bad day, or in between days.
Nothing's worse than coming into work when it's busy and watching everybody else around you make money, and you have tables, but you have slack-ass guests or poor checks.
Yes.
Or something in the universe is just against you. Woo!
Oh, it's the worst.
I mean, you're seeing them getting all like, you know.
They're happy.
Yeah, they're coming out with the seafood towers and the big porterhouse steaks or the tomahawks and stuff like that. And your bozos are splitting a Caesar salad and a soup. It's really a roll of the dice.
Absolutely.
Now, we take the average of the week or the average of the month, and it usually balances out. But that's the con, that your money is not consistent.
It's not.
You go to work as a salaried person or a regular 9 to 5, you sit your butt down, you're going to
make X, Y, Z.
Yeah. And I can't do it. I mean, I cannot do it. So there's pros and cons to everything. Our job's a little bit more exciting.
True.
Okay?
We get to be social. We get to hang out. Not hang out, but, we get to be social. We can be interactive.
Mm-hmm.
You walk around, so your blood's flowing. You're on your feet. You get the physical activity. Like, I probably put in, on a normal shift, 10 to 15,000 steps, yo.
Yeah.
Which is, people working in a desk job, they might put that in all fucking week. Unless they go to the gym.
True. Yes. Another con is, besides the inconsistent pay, is the tip sharing.
Mm-hmm.
And also the way that the majority of people claim or don't claim. You may not qualify for loans because you don't have on paper the amount of money that it takes to represent having
how much money you make.
How much money you make. Now the pros, obviously, flexibility
in schedule, flexibility in life. You get to travel. Now we don't.
We're talking about pay.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Right. So the flexibility means that you can pick up more shifts. You can stay extra. You can pick up that table.
Yes.
Okay. So the earnings are also, yes, on the bad side it's flexible, but also on the good side.
That is flexible. Yeah.
When you have that goal in mind, like, hey, I got to, I want to get this for my son, or I want to, make rent or whatever, you can make it happen.
Yeah, you can make it happen. As long as you stay in the building, you can make it happen.
And the good thing is it motivates you to give great service.
Absolutely.
So that's the one thing. If you sat down, our friend Omar, he says, if you're not going to tip, that's fine. But just own it.
Yeah.
Tell me ahead of time that you're not going to tip and see what kind of service you get. And it's true, because you're stealing our expertise and our knowledge when you, on the back end, don't tip.
Yeah.
And then you say, I don't tip. But then you just took my service.
Yeah.
Right? Tell me in the beginning. You ain't going to get nothing.
Exactly.
Okay? You're going to be sitting there. Drink's not going to be refilled. I'm not going to answer any of your questions.
Absolutely.
Right?
Now, if you tip and then you get bad service, we've both been there. We gave bad service and we've seen bad service. And we've looked at each other sometime and be like, yo, they actually left us 20%. Get the fuck out. I don't think I didn't deserve that today.
Right.
And
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
If things fall through the cracks and I messed up.
If you get too busy, you get overwhelmed or something happens, you get in what we call
forgot about a table
the
the
weeds,
other day.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yo, and it's so funny is it can happen on both ends of the spectrum. You could be not busy and forget some stuff just because you're not in your normal routine of moving around.
It really does motivate. For instance, think about the places that...
And you truly feel bad when you don't give good service. At least I do.
No, I do too. That's not why I come to work.
Yeah.
I didn't come to work to give you good
shitty service.
Yeah. But there are times when it happens.
No, absolutely.
And it's sometimes you just don't perform well at your job for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it's not like an excuse like, oh, but it does motivate people. That's why when I pool, if there's a house pool, there's generally when people talk to me about a house pool, they say, oh, I don't like working with that person because their money's guaranteed in a sense, right? Yeah. I like to work with killers.
Yeah.
I like when people work for their money and want to make money and hustle and go for it. That's who I want to work with.
Yeah, you want to make sure their gun's out with you.
Right.
So they got your back. They're not going to let you miss out on the little things because even if you're behind, they're checking on your table to make sure that all the pieces aren't falling through the cracks at all.
Because that's your money.
Exactly.
That's how servers get paid. I know. Tipping's very divisive. But leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. How do you get paid on your job? Or if there's something that we missed and you're a tipped employee and there's some improvements to be made, let us know. Or you can email me. I'm themodernwaiter@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram @themodernwaiter podcast. I'm Marlon Joseph, the Modern Waiter.
I'm Danny DeVille. Subscribe, people.
We will see you next week.
Later.